RPGaDay 2018. We really are close to the end of the month now. Day 29. The prompt for today is share a friendship you have because of RPGs. This is too difficult to try and pick one. RPGs have been, or me getting back into playing RPGs, that's really changed quite a few relationships that I've got. So my brother bought me for Christmas a few years ago as a nostalgia gift the old 1980s red box basic D&D set. That was what made me think, okay, I fancy getting back into this. I thought I could introduce it to the kids, so I did that, and I ended up buying Pathfinder off the back of that. And I wanted to get a group of people together to play, so I went onto Facebook and said, anybody up for a game of D&D? And I was thinking, emotional blackmail, maybe a cattle prod, I'll get a game out of it. The response I got was astounding. I got a number of people coming back. I think I had something like 15 people all saying, yeah, when are we next playing? So 5 years later, something like that, we run 2 tables every other Monday night. We run 2 tables in a function room upstairs at a local pub, and we've been doing that for a number of years. And there's a whole stack of people who I had lost track of, who I'm now back in contact with. There's people who I didn't know at all, who I've ended up meeting through gaming, and I now have both gaming friendships with, but also know them outside of the gaming table, which is really good. There's people who I was friends with, and we do various things together, and now I game with them as well. And there's people who I knew vaguely who I now see regularly, and that's been quite interesting. So my first campaign when we set up this little club, I was running Pathfinder, and the most obvious example, I think, of somebody who otherwise I really wouldn't have seen an awful lot of was a friend of mine's son. I used to babysit for him when he was about that long. And I didn't know he was into role-playing games. He was playing a lot of GURPS at the time, and he was about 19 by this point, 20. So yeah, he joined in the campaign. I got grief from his mum because I spent more time with him than I did seeing them. I barely ever saw them. I saw him every other week, and he's a really, really cool guy. He's big into Ubiquity now, which is probably my fault. It's certainly my fault. But yeah, he was somebody that I wouldn't have spent a lot of time with. I wouldn't have got to know well if it hadn't been for gaming. There's a guy who was a friend of my brother's. He met him through work 30 years ago, something like that. Probably, no, can't have been 20 years ago. And I've known him on and off for a few years. He joined that campaign because my brother was also playing, and I've seen more and more and more of him, and that friendship's become more and more important to me and become deeper, and that's been really good. We went up to go and see Iron Maiden together a few weeks ago. I see him outside of gaming, and again, that probably wouldn't happen if we weren't sitting around the same table every 2 weeks for 4 hours and picking up shared experiences in doing that. I see probably a lot more of my brother now. Part of that is my kids are older, his kids are older, we've got a little bit more time, and there's various things going on. But I think a real turning point for that was every 2 weeks we'd spend time together gaming and having fun, and that's built that relationship back up, and it's been really good. It's never like I was estranged from my brother, but I think time spent at the gaming tables really helped that. And to round it off, my eldest son was, blimey, I should know this off the top of my head, about 15 when we started playing. And that's been really interesting because, again, spending that quality time with him, that's been a real bonding experience. We talk about the games outside of when we play them, obviously, but just having that constant thread of communication about something that's not overly important but fun and a shared experience has been really good. I mean, we used to do a lot of mountain biking together, and that was likewise a really good bonding experience, just taking the time and spending time together. So, you know, that alone, just from that one campaign, has been really good. There's a guy at work who I used to spend a lot of time mountain biking with. Introduced him to gaming. He was part of that game. We've got a couple of people that have just turned up to the club, and I never know how they found out about it. Apparently somebody in a game shop told one guy about it, and he turned up randomly, much to our surprise. I don't know how the game shop found out that we were playing regularly, but you know, he's somebody that I chat to a lot as well as play with, and we've been out on the bikes, and he's a really cool person to hang out with. There's guys that I barely saw since school who I now see, admittedly briefly, because one of them runs the other table, so I don't get a lot of time to chat to him on a Monday night. But it's been a really good experience, and I don't think I could pick one friendship out of that. But those are, you know, real world connections that I've either made or strengthened or have changed in a positive way as opposed to gaming. And that's without a lot of the people that I now know and chat to online. It's been a really, really good few years for building relationships. So it doesn't exactly answer the question, but hopefully it explains why I'm so positive, or one of the reasons why I'm so positive about games. Okay, got a couple of days left, so I'll see you tomorrow for day 30. Bye.